In the United States of America, where our correspondent is standing by to have a chat with us. Kate, thank you very much for joining us right here on SABC News Channel. The reaction in as far as the Americans, they woke up this morning knowing that they're once again hosting a World Cup in 2026 in about 8 years' time.
That's right, and the last time they had that honour was back in 1994, so that was a very long time ago, really, and things have changed largely here in the United States regarding soccer. Back in 94, they didn't really get the game. There wasn't a huge following. This time round, they're hoping US Soccer, the national body here, is hoping that the country really gets behind it, because soccer really has grown in importance and in popularity amongst especially the young people here in the United States. The North American bid that was led by the North Americans, promising FIFA profits of around $11 billion for bringing the World Cup, the tournament here to the United States, Canada and Mexico. They believe that's because so many people will want to fill those huge stadiums that are on offer, particularly here in the United States. And reaction too from President Trump, who tweeted his pleasure at this, saying that there had been a great deal of hard work that had gone into this.
In fact, that was my next question. What did President Donald Trump say in as far as the World Cup? Because he is a bit of an uncanny character. You're not quite sure what he's going to get out of it. In particular now, the North Americans and, well, Canada and south of their border, Mexico, are co-hosts, and the relations between the three countries are quite frosty, if I can put it lightly.
That's right. He has picked fights with both Mexico and Canada ever since he has entered the White House. Traditionally, good relations between these countries, but since Donald Trump has been president, it really has soured. He's accused Mexicans of being rapists and criminals, and he's said he wants to build a big wall along the southern border with that country. And just at the weekend, last weekend, he offended Justin Trudeau, Canada's Prime Minister, by telling him that he was weak, and they had a big spat at the G7 meeting. And alongside all of this, the trade agreement, NAFTA, between the three countries, Donald Trump has said he wants to tear that up and rewrite it to be more beneficial to the US. So yes, terrible relations really at the moment between those three countries. But the president of US Soccer is saying that he believes this is a way of uniting all those countries back together, and in fact this is a positive thing where he shows that these three countries can work together, and you never know, maybe it will help those NAFTA negotiations.
Let's come back to the football, Kate. The 94 World Cup, as we saw it, I think probably the most telling moment from that World Cup, if I remember, Baggio missing that penalty against Brazil in the final, 90,000 spectators sitting in the stadium. Now, you spoke about America having grown in love with soccer. We've seen soccer moms, the advent thereof. I'm expecting them to buy into it, in particular because their team is not at Russia 2018.
That's right. They have suffered a big disappointment this year, didn't they, by not getting into that World Cup in Moscow. But despite that disappointment, the game does continue to grow in popularity here. And I think it will have given soccer fans here a big boost to hear that although they haven't got their place in Moscow, they're guaranteed, of course, a place come 2026. And it will really boost soccer fever here in the US, knowing that the greatest players in the world are all coming here to play their games. Since 94, there really has been an explosion in the game. Back in 94, many people didn't really understand the rules. They certainly hadn't perhaps watched an entire match. But now it's possible. Channels like NBC show all the British Premier League, for example. You can watch those matches here in the US. Also, as you say, the soccer mom, it's become much more popular for children and young people to play this game. And it's not just boys, it's girls as well. As many girls almost as boys play it here in the US, and US Soccer is hoping that the more young people they get to play the game, the more fans they will have growing up and following it through their lives.
And finally, it doesn't hurt either when you get the likes of Zlatan Ibrahimovic coming over to play there. The likes of David Beckham is basically, I think, an honorary American now. They all have, well, a footing in America, so it doesn't help having those big stars. because the league there seems to be a big draw card financially anyway.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. The fact that you've got someone like David Beckham investing in that team in Miami, and I was just out and about in Washington doing some filming before I came to speak to you, and I saw somebody walking down the street with a Wayne Rooney shirt on their back. He is rumoured to be coming to Washington, to DC United to become a player here. So there is beginning to be an awareness of these big star player names here and a big following for them, and the more big European and players who come over to the US to play, I think it will really bring a bit more of that star power. I mean, David Beckham is famous even if you don't know football.
Kate Fisher, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Our correspondent coming to us from the United States, capital of Washington. Thank you, Kate. We'll be catching up with you hopefully as time goes by and see what else happens in the Americas leading up to 2026.